Hey guys, how's it going? Gilly here from the Retro Oasis, and today we have a video with the first impressions of the Steam Deck. I'm still gonna do a full in-depth review of this handheld, but for some devices I'd like to do a first impressions as well, and I think the Steam Deck deserves. Alright, so let's go. Welcome to the Oasis. I'm not gonna worry about the unboxing experience, there's plenty of videos for that on YouTube. Let's jump right into the specs. It's powered by a custom AMD Zen 2 CPU with 4 cores and 8 threads. It's got an AMD RDNA 2 GPU with 1 GB, 16 GB of RAM. For storage we have 3 options, 64 GB eMMC, 256 SSD and 512 GB, the one I have in my hands, also SSD. An IPS LCD 7-inch touchscreen display with the resolution 1280 by 800 and aspect ratio 16 by 10. A 40 watt-hour battery. For connectivity, we have the Wi-Fi dual band, Bluetooth and video out over USB Type-C. And it runs SteamOS on top of Linux, and you can also use a desktop version. About the price, the 64 GB version goes for $399, the 256 goes for $529, and the 512 GB is $649. Alright, the first thing I noticed right out of the box is how big this device is. It's a behemoth. To compare, here it is side by side with the Nintendo Switch OLED. It manages to be bigger than my One X player. That's the biggest device I have. To be fair, the One X player is a bit taller, but the Steam Deck still lengthier. Worth mentioning, the One X player has a bigger screen. Look at this. In the same area of the Steam Deck, I can fit the Mio Mini, the Embernic RG280V, the Palkiri Q20 Mini, and the 8-bit Do02 controller with space to spare. Well, after the initial shock from the size faded, the second thing I noticed is how comfortable it is. You can't really tell until you hold one in your hands. Yes, it's quite heavy with 670 grams or 1.47 pounds, but the weight is not an issue here at all. Your hands will fit naturally around the device, with it resting literally on your palm. Your little, ring and middle fingers rest on the back of the device, and the index finger on top of the shoulder buttons. It's really comfortable, being the device with the best ergonomics I own. On top, we have the view button on the left and the menu on the right. Essentially, they work as a select and start. We have the D-pad that's great for fighting games. Really great. I'm terrible at fighting games and I went crazy throwing Hadoukens around. 2 same heights, very precise thumbsticks. Xbox and PlayStation level. It's not as great as an Elite controller, but very good nonetheless. They're capacitive, by the way. It can tell you if your thumbs are touching them. We have 2 trackpads. The left works as a D-pad, and the right one can be used in several different ways depending on the software. It can be a mouse on desktop mode, a trackball on a game, and you can even use it to precision aim in shooting games. Here a Steam button that you can use to access your library, store, settings, and etc. On the right side, around the same height, we have this button with 3 dots where you can access more settings like brightness, volume, battery, and more. On the bottom, we have 2 stereo speakers. Spoiler alert, they're fantastic. On the right here, A, B, X, and Y that remind me of the Xbox controller, but a little smaller. On top, we have the shoulder buttons, L1 and R1 being clicky, and L2 and R2 analogs. It's a must for a premium device like the Steam Deck. Volume buttons here, headphone jack, exhaust vent, and USB-C for charging, peripherals, and video out. LED light that goes white when the device is charging, and the power button. On the bottom, just the microSD memory card slot. On the back, we have 4 additional buttons, L4, R4, L5, and R5, that can be mapped the way you want. And here, the air intake vent. The cooler pulls air from here and expels from this vent on top. Another thing I noticed is how well built this console is. There's a bit of texture on the plastic of the casing. Kudos to Valve for choosing this material. You won't show your fingerprints all over it. Except for the display, the device always looks clean. After you turn it on and do the basic setup, This is the interface you're gonna find. It's very simple to use. There's the store where you can buy your games, and this option here, Great on Deck, shows the games that are fully compatible with the Steam Deck. This green check mark shows the game is compatible. This exclamation point shows that the game is playable, but you might have to do some adjustments or even use the touchscreen to select something. This question mark means the game was not tested yet. It can or cannot work. And this prohibited sign means that the game is not compatible with the deck. Once you buy the game, pressing the Steam button, you can check the download progress here. In the library, you'll find all the games from your Steam account, and after they are installed, it's simple as pressing A on the game and then play to start. On compatible games, like I mentioned, you can use the trackpad as a mouse. The right thumb touching the right thumbstick activates the gyroscope. You can do a lot more precision aim this way. The moment you remove your finger from the thumbstick, it deactivates the feature. Very cool. The first thing I noticed about the screen was that it is a bit dark. Then I realized the Steam Deck has a brightness adjustment sensor that almost never works well, leaving the brightness always very low. Apparently this is an issue that Valve is gonna fix in future updates. But maybe the reason I thought that is the fact that the 512GB model has an anti-glare coating on the screen. Apparently this coating diminishes the brightness a little bit, but when I go to settings and adjust it, it looks great and very sharp. I think it will improve a lot with the update. If you hold the power button for a few seconds, you get a few options, and here you can switch to desktop. This is the desktop version of Linux and can be used as a regular PC. You can surf the web, type documents, edit pictures, and the whole 9 yards. Over here on the taskbar you can find the Discover Store, where you can find several apps, including emulators. You just need to go to Applications, Games, Emulators, and here you can find a variety of standalone emulators as well as RetroArch. But this is just a first impressions video, and I don't want to get into that now. Let's go back to SteamOS and test a few games. One of the biggest attractions of the Steam Deck is being able to play AAA games. So let's start with Cyberpunk 2077.
More bodies incoming, they're almost on you.
Careful now. Look at me. You're coming. Your chance. Break off. I kill you. Closer left. Take this, go run it! Потому что нельзя подставляться. Guess where I'm aiming?
Gas are still flowing. Clean it up. Clean it out. Don't want to be bringing the target out after fire. Definitely don't want to slow down that.
Shoot the window! Cover me! You're hurt! This way! They got no way out of there. Shoot that son Space takes more than that to kill an orc. Space Marines.
Easy to emulate systems will work perfectly, and it's a joy to play on this big display. A big shout for Game Boy Advance. This is a system with the aspect ratio a bit more widescreen, and it looks great on the deck. Nintendo DS makes good use of the big screen. You can configure some hotkeys and alternate between screens with ease. You can do the same thing with 3DS, but emulation of this system is a bit more complicated. Nintendo 64, PS1, Sega Saturn, and Dreamcast run great without issues. PSP has stellar performance on the deck, taking advantage of the widescreen display. GameCube and Wii also play great on this device. You have an issue with one or other game, but will be able to play the majority of the titles. PS2 is fantastic here. Pretty much all games I tested ran really well. But what about more recent systems like PS3, Wii U, and Nintendo Switch? Well, I'm gonna leave these for the in-depth review I'm gonna prepare soon. So, if you'd like to see these systems running on the Steam Deck, consider subscribing and hit the bell so you don't miss the video. The Steam Deck arrived on the 25th of February and it was an instant success. Valve is working around the clock and releasing updates every 2 to 3 days to improve the user experience. There's still a bunch of fine-tuning that needs to be done on this handheld, like the automatic brightness adjustments, the Wi-Fi that keeps disconnecting out of nowhere, and the need for more compatible Steam games. But about this compatibility, Valve has been adding from 150 to 200 games weekly on the compatibility list, growing exponentially the number of games available for the device. And this is a portable handheld with amazing potential, with developers porting their softwares faster and faster, like the emulation station and the recently developed EmuDeck, that is able to set up all your emulators, download the covers, and allows the games to be initialized directly on the SteamOS. And to be able to install Windows on this device increases even more the possibilities, improving compatibility with more apps and games. I think the price of $399 for the 64GB model is the definition of bang for your buck, considering what it offers in terms of performance and possibilities. The Nintendo Switch OLED is less powerful, more limited, and costs $350. With the deck at a price point of $400, I call the meme, shut up and take my money. If you got this far and this video was helpful to you in any way, don't forget to leave a like before you go and consider subscribing. As I mentioned, I'm still gonna do a full in-depth review of this Steam Deck, so keep an eye for it. Once again, Gilly here from the Retro Oasis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.